Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kesgrave Panthers Podcast. Today, our guest is Leicester Monarchs racer Lizzie. So
Hi.
how are you feeling today, Lizzie?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Scared for
That's
the
good.
questions.
So we'll start off with like normal. How did you get into cycle speedway?
It was kind of weird. I didn't want to do it, so I watched like Motor Speedway my whole life, and then the girls' team from Leicester, they'd won, I think, like the 7th time in a row the British Club Championships, and they went round on the back of the truck and they kind of did a little advertisement, and my brother was like, "Oh my god, like, can we try this?" And I sort of had to go because there was no one to look after me at home, and then ended up going, and then I've done it ever since. So yeah, we just went down for a little taster. So not by choice.
So can you remember what your first meeting was?
I feel like my first meeting would have literally just been a team match, but like the third team, like Little League racing. Yeah. I've done so many, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. So when can you remember like when you started? Like what year it might have been?
Yeah, I started when I was 12, so that literally would have been in like 2012. So yeah, a long time ago.
So did you start off like riding for Leicester?
Yeah, I've never changed club. I've always rode for Leicester.
Yeah. So do you like the track down at Leicester, or do you have like favourites elsewhere?
Sometimes I like Leicester's track, sometimes I hate it. It depends how it's been brushed. If all the show was off, it's great. If not, hate it. If I had to pick like a favourite track that I look forward to racing on, it'd have to be Great Blakenham, which is quite weird, but I really like that track. And then when I was younger, my favourite track was Bretford, but that's like, it doesn't exist anymore.
So do you have any tracks that you dislike?
Yeah, Newport. I really hate that track. It's so big. And I feel like it's always slippery.
Yeah, so
yeah.
You said so is it like the sort of like surface you don't like or the size of the track? So if you know what I mean.
Like Wensfield's a big track, but I like that track because they have a good surface.
Yeah.
It's when it's like, when the shade was like more stony and it's not like, I like it when it's compacted in like a motorway. I don't like slippy tracks.
So, well, I haven't ridden at Brentford, was it?
Bretford.
Okay. So what was that track like?
It was a really, really small track, and it was very technical. Like there was like a certain point, and if like you didn't turn at that point, you were gonna like basically hit the fence coming out of the bend. It was tiny.
Would you say it's like it was similar to like any of the tracks now that you've ridden on?
No, I mean, no, not really. Like, I would say maybe a little bit like Horsepath in the sense of how small that is, but it wasn't as wide like on the straights either. Like, it was just such a tight track. It's like doing the indoors basically, but on an outdoor track.
Do you enjoy riding indoor?
No, I do it every year. Every year I hit the air fence. Like, I can't turn the corners. I'm like Bambi on ice, but I do it to support it.
Yeah. So do you prefer outdoor to indoor then?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I just feel like indoors all about the gate, and you can't really get physical. Like, you just gate, and I always hit the air fence. So,
what would you say is your biggest achievement?
I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, I've rostrummed in the British every year since I was 16. I'm probably the person that's rostrummed in the most and never actually won one, which really hurts. But I don't know, like I've done a lot, but like I've not really won anything big. My first biggest achievement, which I always remember, and when I was like 13 or 14, and they put on a girls' best pairs championships, and Chloe Whitehead and me rode as a pair, and like everyone was like, there was these other two girls, and I can't remember their names, and everyone was like, they're probably gonna win it, but like if you really keep your heads on and like do this and that, you could win. And we won it unbeaten, and I just remember being like this little 13-year-old, and it was the first trophy I won. And in that moment, like it was the best thing in the world. It was like, oh my god, like no one beat us, we won. So in respect to like how it felt at the time, that's probably my biggest achievement.
Yeah, so have you ridden for England and Great Britain?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what did it feel like when you got those call-ups for the first time?
Well, the first time that I was in the squad was in 2015, and I was just like I went and watched all the matches, but I didn't get to ride. And then I rode in the Federation Cup, and that was really last minute. So Lucy had to drop out, and then she specifically said that she wanted me to ride in it, which was like, I was like, oh my god, like I've been chosen. And honestly, like going out to that first race, the pressure is on. You're like, oh no. And then I actually did really well, like I did everything I was told, and you know, it's incredible, like just the feeling of like everyone screaming for you as well. Yeah, insane.
So you said that you like the tracks being like more compact and like you don't like the loose stuff on top. So how were the tracks for you in Poland and Australia?
I'm never going to Poland again. I nearly lost my teeth. In Poland, the first time we went, I couldn't ride the track at all. I was like skidding out on every bend, and I think that was for the Euros. And then we went again for the Worlds and like England, the World Cups and things. And I was riding along, and I just came out the bend and fell off. Like I literally just took myself off, and then Sandra rode like over me because she couldn't like get out of the way, and I smashed my face like straight off the floor. So that was horrific. Never again. Australia, that was actually really good. I really liked the tracks out there. The worst one was probably, I don't know what it was called actually, Lefevre I think it was, and it was like quite a little track and a bit like skiddy, but the Australian tracks are really nice.
Yeah, so like what would you say, like what was it, Lefevre, what does it have like a British equivalent? Like what would you say it's most like over here?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know, you know, like trying to think of like other tracks that it's a bit like. It's like a small track, maybe a bit like A&T, if I had to pick one. Trying to remember it. This is in 2017 as well. If anyone thinks different, like they can let me know, because I would say A&T is probably the most that it felt like to me.
So did you like enjoy racing out in Poland and Australia?
Australia was incredible. I just remember like getting home and everyone was like, oh, like, did you have a good time? What did you see? What did you do? And I was like, no, it was the best time, but we were at the track every day. But it was just like that feeling that like everyone's cheering for like the same people as well, and it's not like a rivalry, but the British want to shout louder than the Australians, so everyone starts screaming and yelling. And like I remember getting like, I'm quite a physical rider, and like people know this, and I remember like I hit one girl and they were like, referee, she's an animal, like she's a feral, and like they'll just shout anything at you. Someone threw a beach ball at my head, and it's like the adrenaline that you get from that is insane. It's like like you just want to carry on racing. Like it's not, you know, like sometimes you race and it's just dead quiet, but like the crowds. And so in Australia they commentate as you race as well, which is the weirdest thing. Like you're riding around and there's like an Australian guy speaking really fast about who's where in the race. Incredible. And the same in Poland as well, like the crowds were so big, and it's just, you just get that adrenaline, you know. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I think they're making a decision on the Worlds soon, like where they're going to be next year. So would you rather like they were here or over in Australia?
For affordability, I'd rather it be in England. But like for the holiday and the atmosphere, I think Australia would be cool. Like it'd be really good to go to Australia again. And obviously everyone was really excited for that, and like a lot of people already saved up and stuff. But for me, like, because I'd hate to miss it, I kind of want it to be in England.
Yeah.
Unless anyone wants to sponsor me to go.
So, do you have, like, what would you say is your most memorable moment in the sport?
It's got to be, so when we were in Australia, me and Michelle, we were team partners, and we got like the first 7-3 for Great Britain. And it was like, there's a photo of it, and like the GB like crowd are in the background, and everyone's like leaning over the fence screaming, and like me and Michelle just got the biggest smiles on our face. But I just remember that was the first race we did, and we got a 7-3. And I just remember coming in and being like, yes, like we've got this, we can do this. Yeah. So yeah, definitely my most memorable moment, that.
Yeah. So on the complete opposite of that, do you have like a most embarrassing moment that's ever happened to you?
Yeah, so many. It has to be the most recent British. There was the most embarrassing. I think I had a fight with a tree. If I could erase one moment from my life, it would be that day.
So you say that you rode with Michelle and got that 7-3. So do you have like any favourite team riding partners?
Can I pick 3? So it's got to be Chloe, Lucy, and Michelle, and like, because I'm like, we've all like always all rode together as a group, and then so I was paired with Chloe when we were younger, and then in GB I was paired with Michelle, and then this year I've been paired with Lucy. But all 4 of us, like, we've just got that connection on the track, and we know what we're doing. So definitely them 3. Yeah. I'd always team ride with you.
Yeah. So do you, with your like style of riding, do you try to like have your own style of riding, or do you like pick bits off of other people to bring to your style, if you know what I mean?
I think I just have my own, like, yeah, I don't think there's really anyone that I would try and replicate, sort of thing. I'm just a bit of a loose cannon, really, to be honest.
So is there anyone that you look up to though?
Like a rider, or just
anyone really?
If I picked a rider, I'd probably look up to like Lauren Davis. I don't know if you know her. So when I started racing, she raced for Leicester, and she won everything. She was world champion, European champion, British champion. But like, she didn't always win from the gate. Like, but she just looked so calm, and she just ride around people and win. And like, I remember being this like little 13-year-old being like, I want to be her. So yeah, be Lauren Davis.
Yeah. So would you say that though, like when you rode for GB, is that the biggest event you've ever ridden in, or is there bigger?
Definitely, like, that's probably the biggest one that people think about, isn't it? And then obviously I've done the Worlds as well. I've ridden everything: the Worlds, the Euros, the British, GB, England. But yeah, I think GB is the biggest one, because as well, like, it's not individual, you're with a team, so the pressure's even higher because you don't want to let anyone down.
So you enjoy riding for a team then?
I do love team riding. I like individual in the sense that like there's no pressure on me. If it goes wrong, it's only me that gets affected. But like riding for a team, it's just like that support system with everyone, and like everyone's cheering for the same people, and like you're all like egging each other on as well. Like the support, especially from like the girls in the pits when you're going out for your race, and like everyone's on the fence sort of thing. Team riding for a team is my favorite thing.
Yeah. So, how do you like before and during a meeting? How do you like keep yourself relaxed in the pits?
Oh my God, I don't. Like, honestly, my heart rate, if I took my heart rate before racing, I think it wouldn't be good. I don't know, like, I try and tell myself, like, it at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't define you as a person. Like, it's not going to change your life. But the one thing that does, like, calm me down is, like, every time I go out to race, the last thing that my mum does is, like, she gives me a hug and she's like, good luck, enjoy it. And it's, like, just being told to enjoy it, I'm like, yeah, like, enjoy it. Don't put the pressure on.
So why do you ride? Like, what do you aim to get out of the sport?
I don't know, like, I just enjoy, like, the adrenaline of racing on my bike, just getting on my bike and going fast in circles. It's great fun.
Yeah. So, what would you say is like the best advice you've ever been given by anyone really?
I think the best advice that I have ever been given is just that, like, is to enjoy it. Like, I will, like, if it comes to some meetings and stuff, I work myself up so much, and I'm like, guys, I can't do it. Like, what if I make this mistake or that mistake? And like, so like, definitely don't overthink it and enjoy it are my two biggest bits of advice that I've been given. Yeah.
So is there anything else, like any other advice that you'd give to other riders?
Yeah, like always be a good sportsman. Like, no matter how it goes, if it's in your favor or not, always shake people's hands. Like, and especially like I don't know what the boys are like, but like the girls will all give each other a hug and stuff as well. Like, because I think that really sets up like your mood for racing as well. Like, so there was a time when it wasn't like all of the girls weren't friends, and like you could feel the tension in the pits, and it's like my biggest advice to anyone would be like, just be a good sportsman and like, or sportswoman, and shake everyone's hand when the race is done, it's done, and put that race behind you.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you'd been like, you've podiumed in like many women's British finals. Like, what does it feel to podium in such a significant event? And is it a little bit annoying that maybe sometimes you could have won it, but you know?
I mean, so the first time that I ever podiumed in the British was really funny, because it was the first year that I did it. I was like 14, no idea what I was doing. I didn't qualify, and then the next year did it again, and like my mum just took me where we were told to go. Like, we didn't know what the event was, and then it came to it, and they were like announcing like, oh, second place, Lizzie Rigley, and I stood there in the pits and I was like clapping, like, and everyone was like, no, that's you, like, go out. And I was like, oh my God, that's the first time I'd ever got on a podium. I remember going out and like whatever, and like they made us like do a lap around with our trophies and stuff, and I was like, why is this such a big deal? Like, what's a match? And then I think like after that, so many people were like, oh, well done, like, you could win this next year. And then I sort of understood what it was. But it is great, a great feeling to be like, yeah, like I'm up there, and I can't get, obviously it's always nice to get on the rostrum, but it is like, it does hurt when like I've come second, honestly, like 4 times, and most times I'm 1 point off first. And it's just like, oh, just what could I do different every year? What could I do? But it is still a great feeling, and obviously like it wasn't meant to be that time for me.
So you've ridden in the rock there. You have ridden in the worlds, haven't you? At the individual.
Yeah.
So how did you get on in that?
So I've ridden in 2 world finals. My first world final was in Australia, and I came 5th, and I was so gutted because in my first race I came out the gate in first, and I remember like taking someone wide. I think it was Lauren Hookway. I took her wide because I was like, oh my god, like I need to beat Lauren in this race, like. And then Michelle came underneath all of us, and then I tried to, instead of like waiting and biding my time to make a clean pass, I tried to like get under her as quick as I could, and I fell off and ended up coming 4th in that race. And I always kick myself about this because I came 5th, and it's like even if I'd have come 2nd, like that's 2 more points that I would have had and would have put me potentially in a run-off to get on the rostrum. And then the second world final I did was in Poland, and it was literally the day after I'd smashed my face off the floor, and I was so close to not even end. I said to my mum, I was like, Mum, like I don't want to do it, like I'm really scared, like I was honestly petrified of this track now. And I came 4th, so it wasn't all bad.
Yeah. So can you remember like what track that was? Right.
I think maybe Chesterhover.
Yeah, so
I feel like it might have been Chesterhover.
So what
Somewhere
was
in Poland.
like what was so bad about that track? Was it just the surface, or is it like the corners or something else?
Did you ever ride on Birmingham before they like took all them lumps out on the 4th bend?
I don't
Like,
think so, no.
Okay, so Birmingham used to be like really bumpy coming out of the 4th bend, and that's what this track felt like, and all the shale was just so loose, and it was just horrible. Yeah, it was the surface again, like the size of the track wasn't an issue. It was the surface. I just honestly, I'm like Bambi, I just couldn't grip the floor.
So do you do any other sports apart from cycle speedway?
I mean, I don't do any other sports like now. I did play lacrosse in uni for a bit, and then like I do the gym, if that counts as a sport. I did a little bit of track cycling as well, but that was just like I just wanted to give it a go when I was at uni. Why not? But at the minute, no, just the gym.
Yeah. So you mentioned track cycling. Did you enjoy that? And like, were you any good at it really?
I did enjoy it. Like, it is good fun. You have to give it a lot more dedication than you do Speedway, and like the level of competition is so much higher. The one thing that I didn't enjoy though, like they don't have as much racing as we do. So like for us, every weekend pretty much you're like, oh, like I'm racing here this weekend and next week I'm there. And I just felt like I was constantly training for nothing. Like literally it was just for the enjoyment of riding my bike. I wouldn't say I was anything special, but I was not bad. Like I just tootled around. Gave it my best shot.
So what kept you at Speedway then instead of like going off and doing that?
I mean, to be honest, like I really wanted to try the track when I was like 15, because they built one in Derby. So I'm from Loughborough, and then Derby was like 45 minutes away. And but it's expensive. Like everything costs money. Like a helmet's like 200 quid, and then race wheels are over £1,000, and it's like paying for a coach is like 80 to 150 pounds a month, and it just wasn't like we just couldn't put the money into it. And like obviously Speedway was cheap. I really love Speedway as well. Like I do enjoy it. And then I went to uni. I did my masters in Manchester, so that's when I thought like, and like then I had my own money as well. So I was like, oh, like I want to give it a go. But at that point, like I'm 22, I'm a bit old to really like get anywhere in it, sort of thing. So yeah, I might as well just stick with what I'm good at.
Yeah. So I think we've got through quite a bit today. So yeah, thank you for joining us and talking about smashing your face in on some Polish track and about your fight with a tree.
I mean, yeah, it's been an eventful Speedway career, if that's what you call it.
So yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. And yeah, we will see everybody next time. Goodbye.